Painting your house is one of those projects that promises a massive reward. But, well, it often delivers a massive headache instead. The dream, right? It's that pro-level finish done in a single weekend. But the reality for a lot of people, it's drips, it's clogs, and a finish that honestly looks worse than when you started. And the difference almost always comes down to one single thing: choosing the right paint sprayer. So here's the promise that gets every homeowner excited: turning a grueling 3-day paint job with a brush and a roller into a single day's work with an airless sprayer. And yeah, it is absolutely possible. But here's the hard truth: that exact same machine, the one that promises to save you 2 full days of work, can also be the very tool that ruins your entire project in just a few hours. So what's the difference between a DIY hero and a DIY disaster? It almost always comes down to the tool you choose. A lot of these sprayer projects go wrong not because of the person using the tool, but because they picked the wrong tool for the job in the first place. And the consequences are very real. The wrong machine won't just slow you down, it will actively work against you. We're talking hundreds of dollars in wasted paint, constant clogging while you're maybe teetering on a ladder, and ultimately a finish so bad you'll wish you had just stuck with the roller. So before you even think about picking up a sprayer, you have to understand what actually separates a good one from a bad one for your specific job. To avoid that disaster, we've got to look at just a few key things that determine whether you get that flawless finish or just a frustrating mess. It's actually way simpler than you think, and this is what's going to empower you to make the right choice. It really all starts with one number: PSI, pounds per square inch. This is the force that takes that thick, heavy exterior paint and turns it into a fine atomized mist. And for the kind of paint you put on a house, you need at least 2,000 PSI. If you have anything less, the paint kind of sputters out in these larger droplets, and that's what creates that gritty, bumpy orange peel texture instead of a smooth, professional coat. Okay, so that pressure is delivered through 3 main types of sprayers. First, you have HVLP. These are great for fine detail work, like on furniture, but they are way too slow for a house. Then you have your traditional airless sprayers. These are the pro standard. They're fast, they're powerful. And then, kind of in the middle, there's this newer technology called HEA, or High Efficiency Airless. This is a fantastic choice for beginners because it gives you the power, but with much less messy overspray. And finally, let's talk about something people always overlook: the hose. A short 25-foot hose might seem fine, but on a 2-story house, that means you're constantly stopping, climbing down a ladder, moving this heavy machine, and then climbing all the way back up. A 75-foot hose is completely transformative. It lets you plant the machine in one spot and cover almost half the house, from the ground all the way up. It's not just faster, it's so much safer. So now that we understand the why behind a good finish, let's connect it to the what. We're going to look at 3 different sprayers, and each one is basically a solution for a different kind of project and a different kind of person. So here are our top contenders. We've got the Wagner Control Pro 150, which is great for first-timers. Then there's the Graco Magnum X5, a real all-around workhorse. And finally, the Graco Magnum X7, which is built for those bigger jobs. And notice the differences in pressure. That's going to be really important. Okay, so if you're new to spraying and the idea of covering your neighbor's car in a fine mist of paint is keeping you up at night, the Wagner Control Pro 150 is designed for you. Its main feature is that HEA technology we just talked about, which directly tackles the biggest learning curve for any beginner. And that high-efficiency airless tip makes a huge difference. We're talking about reducing that messy overspray by up to 55%. What does that mean for you? It means more paint lands on your house, less of it just floats away in the air, and you spend way less time masking and cleaning up. It really is the most forgiving way to start spraying. Now, for most homeowners who are tackling a single-story house, the Graco Magnum X5 is pretty much the go-to recommendation. This is a true airless sprayer with 3,000 PSI of power, and its biggest advantage is just pure convenience. You stick a tube directly into your 5-gallon paint bucket, and you just go. No thinning the paint, no constant refills. It's just built to work. But what if you have a bigger 2-story home? Well, that's where the Graco Magnum X7 comes in. It's essentially an upgraded X5, and it's specifically engineered to solve the 2 biggest problems on a large job: reach and mobility. It comes on a wheeled cart, and its killer feature is the hose. And that feature is 75 feet of hose. This right here is the game changer we talked about earlier. With this much reach, you can leave the machine on the ground and comfortably spray the highest peaks of your 2nd story. This one feature can literally save you hours and make the whole project feel less like a chore and more like a professional operation. So you've matched the machine to your mission. Great. But the best sprayer in the world won't help you if your technique is wrong. The machine gets you about 50% of the way there. Your technique is the other 50%. These are the 4 rules you absolutely cannot break. 1. Mask everything nearby. Overspray travels farther than you think. 2. Always test your spray pattern on a piece of cardboard first. Get the pressure right before you touch the house. 3. Keep the gun moving whenever you're pulling the trigger. And finally, if the wind is over 10 miles per hour, just wait for another day. Trust me on that one. One of the most critical parts of your technique is simply how far you are from the wall. You want to stay in this consistent sweet spot, about 12 to 14 inches away. If you get too close, the paint builds up and it drips. But if you're too far away, the paint particles actually start to dry in midair, and they hit the wall as this rough, sandy texture called dry spray. Consistency here is everything. Now, the secret to avoiding streaks and getting that perfectly uniform coat is the 50% overlap. So as you make each pass with the sprayer, you aim the center of your spray at the very edge of the last pass. This makes sure that the edges of the spray fan, which are naturally a little thinner, get a full second coat. The result is a flawless finish. And finally, always work from the top down. Gravity is your friend here. Any of that light overspray is going to drift downward onto surfaces you haven't even painted yet. But if you work from the bottom up, that same overspray settles right on top of your beautiful finished coat. So always start high and work your way down. Okay, we've covered a lot. The physics, the machines, and the techniques. So let's bring it all together into a simple, practical takeaway so you know exactly what to do. So let's just put it all together. If you're a first-timer and your biggest worry is making a mess, the Wagner Control Pro 150 is your best choice because of that forgiving HEA tech. If you're tackling a standard single-story home, the Graco Magnum X5 gives you that perfect balance of power and ease of use. And for any large or 2-story project, the Graco Magnum X7 is the right tool, simply because that 75-foot hose is going to make the job faster and so much safer. See, ultimately, getting that pro-level finish, it isn't about buying the most expensive machine. It's about understanding your specific project, choosing the machine that is the right solution for that project's challenges, and then pairing that perfect tool with the proper technique. And now you have the knowledge to do both. So you now understand the difference between a tool that creates problems and a tool that solves them. If you want the full breakdown of these sprayers, plus direct links, you can find the original source article right there in the description. The only question left is, which part of your home are you going to transform first?